All right, hey everybody, Day Trader Rockstar here, and a futures video for those traders out there trading futures with us each day. I usually do a futures video and I do a stock video. The stock video will be coming out a little bit later tonight for the members. It's the HPS watch list that focuses on stocks that fall into the HPS methodology, meaning we want to have the same type of setups we're looking for in our scalps to be on longer time frames, daily time frame, 60-minute time frame. I have so many lessons out there on, how we trade this, and it's really just, I want to come back to the basics each time and kind of be doing it like kind of a one-on-one type of thing right now and talk about the importance of trading when you need to trade and not to trade when you don't need to trade. It is so hard for a trader to be in front of your computer all day long and just take certain trades that you're waiting for. It's very hard unless you finally develop that confidence or you see the light. Eventually you will see the light, because there's a way of doing things in everything we do these days. And I like to use analogies a lot. Sometimes I'll say, you got to wait for your pitch, or you got to wait for your cards to be dealt before you bet. Same thing. But whatever you do, there's a proper way of doing it. If you're great at something, maybe you're great at golf, maybe you're great at math, maybe you're great at whatever. But everything to be great at something, there's a path to greatness, right? And you have to follow that path. And because you're great at it, you know that path. So you're trying to teach people that path. But most people can't follow that path and be great. It's too easy to get off the path. People are lazy. They don't have the time. So I'm not calling people lazy out there, but it's almost about the time. So, excuse me. What I teach is, a setup, a really great setup in the market, which we hunt for. Now, there's a few of them. There's probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 setups I'll trade, but there's really one really great setup that I'm always, stressing. That's the one I send out on the trade alerts. These are the quad rotations, or just actually quad rotation divergence, or we never, turn our heads against the divergence. So, even if we have a divergence, we most likely will take that trade. So, and we know, and and me showing it each and every day for the last 17 years, that when we have divergences, we get the big moves in the markets. So, with that said, we know how I say that a lot of times, you don't know. You don't know until I tell you. I know that when divergences set up, they set up as major pivots in channels. So when we talk about pivot, it means when we're going from one direction to another. So if the market's moving down to up, this would be a pivot. If the market's moving up and then pulls down, that's a pivot. Basically you just need a series of lower highs, and then you have that downward trend, a series of upper, higher lows. And then you have that upward trend, and then you start to measure out that channel. So we know where divergences show up. So now it's half the battle is done, and this is kind of jumping right into it. I didn't even give you any information on stochastics or anything. This is for people here that I'm trying to always continue and stress the important things. A divergence. A divergence. Understanding that when we have a low and a lower low and a low and a higher low. Very important to recognize that. And if you recognize that inside of a channel, 9 times out of 10, that will be the bottom of the channel. All right? And that's how important that is. That's how important that you can't miss those. So, all right, so we're watching the markets. I watch the markets. I get in the morning. I'm starting to identify little channels. That's my first major thing that I want to do. Excuse my cough. I'm kind of just showing you how my process is and what I know that I'm looking for. So again, when we know how a divergence sets up and we know what a divergence is, I was going to show you an example just to kind of catch some people up here. This divergence happens in 2 stages. We have a low on the price, and then the price bounces, and then we have a lower low on the price. But underneath this, we have our stochastics. And our stochastics is measuring momentum. So momentum has dropped, has gotten oversold. or actually is selling off at the lows, and it's at the lows. Now we got a little bounce here. All right, momentum shifts, buying coming back in. It goes up. Market all of a sudden reverses quickly and takes out the previous low. But the stochastics do not take out the previous low. Momentum has shifted. It shifted, meaning that buyers came back in even though this was lower. So that means the price is going to change direction and it's going to follow the momentum. And that's where we get our divergence set up. So whenever we see that, we know that, that there's a better chance of a big move here, a big reversal. And remember, these always tend to set up in pivot areas. Here's and a good example. I didn't even label this, but you can see the nice downward channel. Oops, what the heck happened there? Let's see if you can see it okay. See that nice downward channel here? And I can't put any lines in on this, but you can see just a wave reaction. And you could get trapped under here. You could really get in trouble because our 60-10 is embedded under 20, and people start to bounce. I said, never buy that embedded stochastics. Wait for a divergence. Divergence will give us a better chance of a reversal. And sure enough, there was actually a low here, a lower low, and a higher low. And you can see it above the 20 line. And we broke that channel. I don't know how far it went in the hit, of course, broke the downward channel. And that's what you're going to see each and every time we find divergences. And the same thing on the sell side. The sell side divergence, very important. So again, lower lows, higher lows. That's what we're looking for. So we know they happen in channels. So we see any type of 1, 2, 3 pivot areas. We got a little pivot there. We can start to see this is an extension here. And we came back down to it, tested it. So we just throw some lines in there, rough estimate, and then we watch down here. And here we actually had a double bottom divergence. Got a double bottom divergence here. You can see that 60-10 or that 9-3 up here on the top is way above the 20 line here. It's also 14-3 was a divergence also. Nothing on this, nothing on this. But these are two good divergences. And this was a nice little downward channel. So we have a divergence inside of a channel. The channel will be broken to the upside. These are all short-term trades off the 1 minute time frame. So you don't want to, you're going to be trading this, not this. You're not going to hold on to it. You could if you want. These are definitely good. But, the technique, the entry is meant to be giving you that pivot area into a channel. You're going to get a nice move. And then when you get, actually, it's right here. When you get that nice move, most likely you're going to get a little pullback before heading lower. It's up to you if you want to ride that or not. You add all these extra decisions you have to make. That's going to cut into your profitability and your success rate. What's your success rate on trades? So again, once you start to get a divergence, if a divergence comes in, you have a break of a channel. Most likely, it is a new channel break forming. So what happens is you get that breakout, and then you get your first pullback, and that first pullback usually is timed with the 9-3 here. If the 9-3 pulls back, this is still heading up, or have a bias, a bullish bias to it. Most likely, these will end up being flags. So there's a way of reading the market. This is the only thing we're reading. We're reading how to identify channels, what makes a channel, the internal momentum that's going to affect our patterns. We know that if the 60-10 is embedded and this pulls back 20 fast and you're in an upward trend, this is most likely going to be a flag. And the same thing on the downward channels and divergences, and how they meet and how they mesh together. So whenever we see that channel, we're just watching. I'm watching it. And, kind of watching this here. Finally, we kind of get that kind of a double, kind of a lame kind of low here. But you had a real high rotation. And it was a quad. It came right down just about to the quad. That makes that a quad rotation divergence, a quad divergence. High level divergence on the 14.4 between this low and this low. It's just what it is. And this is just about at 20. Again, horseshoes and hand grenade rules. You've got to be just close. It's, the better it is, as long as it's turning back up, you've got a good momentum started. But this is definitely a good setup. All right, so now, again, you might be saying, well, how am I going to find this? This is hard. This is hard, John. Well, I'm going to do all I can to get these out to you. All right? We're doing it each and every day in front of it, and eventually you're going to start to recognize these. All right? Actually, this one, if we look at the Voxer alerts, and again, the Voxer alerts really, I think one of my best little projects that I have going is sending these alerts out onto your phone. So this is at, if you take a look, let's see, Friday at 12:04, I sent this alert out. Let's listen to what it says here and see if we could gain any knowledge from this. Again, this goes out to members of Day Trading Radio, or you could get it at the Patreon site at patreon.com/Day Trading Radio. This is a bargain right here. This is an absolute steal. All right, traders, good morning. It's a little later in the afternoon here for our first alert, 12:03. Apologize for that. We are setting up on a little lip divergence right at 58.98 on the futures on the ES, right above the main pivot, and our VWAP is at 58.96. So right here.
58.98 here.
We're right here. The alert goes out.
Rotation. There's no, I would say, let's hold off on this divergence. There's starting to look like a nice recognizable channel right now, so we tend to eyeball these. We do have a little reversal candle. If you wanted to take a shot here, you go long with a stop under 58.9750. 58.9750 would be your little shot here just on a rotation up.
So that was the alert that went out, and that didn't even come near the close. That was the low, so it didn't even get near the stop. And, kind of read into the divergence. I wasn't going to call it. But once we realized that it was a divergence, you could easily say, man, damn, that was a good divergence. Anyway, market continues, right? And then we get a nice pushback. The market starts I call pattern now. We don't have to trade this. You don't have to try to, like, all right, we're going to sell off, and you get in here and it pounces and you get chopped up. That's not my trade. This is not my trade. I'm not guaranteed that we're going to stop here and pull back here to go to here and here. I mean, we do use stochastics to get these bounces, but I know the big setups. I know the quad rotation divergence right here. Quad rotation divergence at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. That was a huge little spike down, but the stochastics didn't change. And we always stress that if you get a big spike down, and the stochastics barely change, which it really didn't, you come right back. You're going to use this as a closing price divergence, and then inside of a channel, and then off to the races. And then we had a little divergence here. Looks like. I don't know if we were looking at that or not, but it looks like I had it marked off. And then we were talking about that 60-10 being down. So the trend is down, right? So there's no reason to go long until we see a divergence. So we're just watching this go down. It's rotating down. We started getting oversold here on a quad rotation, but it's not a divergence yet. I don't know if it was going to be a divergence. Then it kind of just went sideways, and then we dipped down once, and then we dipped down twice for a double bottom. There's your higher low. Right there's your higher low, and that's your lower low. That's a double bottom, beautiful double bottom divergence right at 1550. And you might have started even seeing that right here at the 1540 area. I could start to see that divergence there. You would put your stop right underneath this, and it would be fine. That right underneath that low, that would be fine. Now, yeah, it's right at the end of the day. It's what we call the 350 murder algo. So that is something you have to pay attention to. Let's say 27. All right, that was good. So, are you able to hold out to these trades? Hold out for these trades? There's a lot of slop in here too. I mean, you could try to go short here and get blown out. You're trying to catch tops. It's all over the place. These, if we zoom out, I always like zooming out. We zoom out and look at our 60 period down here. See the blue hash marks? Blue here, and blue here. Each one of these was a quad rotation. Here, and here. So look at these areas. Even if you were wrong on your scalp, most likely you're going to be right on the big swing. So you have to consider that. If you want to hold these things longer, or maybe take a SPY call or something, this would be a great trading opportunity. Quad rotations and taking calls, SPY call, weekly calls, and let it run most of the day. Look at it. Now that's just Friday. That's almost like three setups throughout for the day. That's 3 rotations, and then 2 o'clock we almost had another one here. That was another one, and then after 3 o'clock we had another one, and they all pushed higher. All of these, if you were in, even though there's choppiness around the lows, but pretty much not. No, not too much. Not too much at all. Wow, So that's it. I just wanted to do a review, kind of keep us focused on identifying the channel, making sure you understand you're looking for the divergence in the channel. You see the divergence, take it. Especially if there's divergence in a channel like this and you're able to get your trade in while you're inside the channel. You could step up to the ES, bigger contract size, maybe a bigger contract, the ES instead of the micros. Those are high probability zones. There's other trades that we trade, A lot of people ask if there's any other trades. Yeah, but then I want to argue and say, why would you take anything else when you know something works so well? You kind of lowering your chances. Over time, these are not as reliable. This is almost a math. This is a mathematical change in momentum, which most people can't read, but we're able to adjust some of my stochastic settings here and kind of read multiple time frames, and we can see how the internal rotation is happening even against the price, and that gives us an edge. That gives us a proactive edge, not a reactive edge. Most indicators do. The hardest part of this part is going to be taking profits, all right, and having the guts to get in. If you see something like this, look at this. I could spot this like it was friggin', I would say I would spot it like I could smell these. Like a fart in a closet. Here's a beautiful divergence right here. And when you have that downward channel and you have a divergence and you see that turn back up here, you have to take it, and you have to put your stop underneath it. That's not a big stop. You're not going to get hurt. But most likely you're going to make it, especially if it's a quad rotation. That makes it even better. Again, you have a quad divergence. This is a super signal. Way above the 20, good angle, recognizable pattern, lower low. Nothing but net. Nothing but net. So if I'm showing these each time, you just have to find them. Find me one. Find me. I guarantee they'll move. Now, are you serious enough to be part of this? That's up to you. You got to put the time in. I'm working on the TradingView script. I'm going to have a first look at it, I think, tomorrow to test it out. Doesn't mean it's going to be released tomorrow, but I'm telling you, I'm working hard on that, getting that done for everyone. People have been asking about it. Open up a couple more slots to the Rockbot into the Patreon slots, so you could get the Rockbot if you're not a member. That's at patreon.com/Day Trading Radio, but they might already be filled up now. But you could check them out. That's the Rockbot scripts, $50. I think that's it on this video. I want to start working on my charts, my stocks. If you have any questions, reach out. Please give me some time to respond. It's been a tremendous couple months here at Day Trading Radio. I think we've had close to 1,000 new signups, and really appreciate everyone tuning in, new listeners. Big shout out to Desire to Trade podcast. Secrets out. Secrets out now. God, that's what we always try to keep it down. Grassroots. We always had this grassroots thing going. We had a family here. Now the yuppies are here. Have a good day. Have a good one, everyone. I'm working on the stock watch list now.